now we use PVC, which is very good because have been pipes in the United States for more than 100 years, PVC pipes. In our case, it's very good because we have acidic soils. PVC, no problem with acidic soil. So we are doing something that's gonna last hundreds of years. And the way I put it is, think about Hoover Dam. When Hoover Dam was built in the 1930s, they didn't say, hey, let's save a little bit of money. Let's make it smaller. Let's save some money here. They don't put that big generator. Let's make it smaller. No, they built it right. They did it right, and we're still proud of that. And we still go there and we walk that bridge and we're impressed. So that's what we do here. Let's build it right from the beginning. You put substandard material, or you hire the wrong company, or you don't do it right, in 20 years you're gonna do it again. You better do it right, and then it's gonna last 100 years. And that's our philosophy.
One of the things you mentioned to me in some of your notes was some new wells. So how do new wells contribute to the city's long-term water supply security, and what goes into bringing a new well online?
Yes, we have two sources of water. One is groundwater at half the price, or imported water. Imported water is basically half from Northern California, half from the Colorado River. That goes to the agency that is called Metropolitan Water District. They treat the water, and they distribute that water from San Diego to Ventura. But it's at double the price. Also, we are earthquake territory. Those pipes have to cross the mountains or have to cross the desert. If those systems get cut off out of California, and you're completely dependent on import water, I don't know what you're gonna tell your customers when that happens. We are lucky. We have a system that could rely 100% on groundwater. In fact, we are working to have more capacity than what we need. That way, if a well is out of service, we repair that, and we have all the wells, and we get into the time where we do preventive maintenance. If we know a well is coming to the life cycle, we stop that well, we rebuild the well, and then when we put it back to the system, it's a well that's gonna last 20 more years. But half the price and the reliability. Earthquake, something happened, we're still providing our customers with water. Something else on that. Edison have been sued to death for creating wildfires, and so they have now something called PSPS, prevented. They shut down the power.
Yes.
When it's hot and when it's windy, and that's when we need the power the most. When it's hot is when we use most water. Mm-hmm. So we are spending a lot of money putting backup generators. Every pump station in the city of Orange right now has backup generators. What that does is, especially for me, at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, Edison shut the water off and is sleeping like a baby. Because we have a system. We have a system that automatically switches from Edison to backup generator, nice. And you still have water.
I find it hard to believe you're still sleeping like a baby. You couldn't. I just know you're out there making sure that we're all sleeping like babies, hopefully.
Well, it's all about the customer.
Yeah.
I'm a resident too. Yeah. And my expectation is for my local government to provide me with water 24 hours a day. And if that happens, I'm gonna be mad. If that doesn't happen, I will be mad. And I see the residents that I represent the same way. Hey, they're expecting that water to be there with fires, that water to be there with the earthquake, that water to be there when it's cold, when it's hot, and it's good quality water. That's the people that I serve expectation. And I have a fiduciary duty to comply with that.
And I think with the power being shut off, a lot of people don't put those two together. They don't correlate the power and the water together, realizing that they are synonymous. They go together.
We pay about $2 million a year.
Wow.
In electrical.
So are the generators new since they've started doing like that planned power? Is that something you've had to increase more?
No, Hurricane Sandy that hit New Jersey really hard. Okay. 2013?
Yeah, it was 20. About 12 years
So
ago.
the destruction of Sandy wasn't that bad. It was that they were prepared for what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
They lost power, they lost water services, they got flooded. And I learned from that. The reason that they didn't have water is because they had generators. They didn't have the fuel to fuel generators. At the time, we didn't have even the generators. And since then, we installed more than 10 generators here. And we also have two big, like 10,000 gallon gasoline and diesel storage in the water yard and the corporation yard in the city. And we also, when we have several F-150 trucks that have a 55 gallon diesel or gasoline tanks in the back of the truck just for this. If we had no power, those generators are working for more than 24 hours. We had the fuel and the means to bring that fuel to the generators. So no, I didn't start doing this recently. I learned that from Hurricane Sandy. And that's why you're here, right? To learn, so you apply stuff that you can learn today in your personal life, in your business. I believe you can learn even from a conversation.
Definitely. Now, speaking of generators, let's talk about cost a little bit. What external cost pressures are having the biggest impact on the City of Orange Water Division right now?
Several. One is California is creating a lot of regulations, not just in the water industry, every industry, you name it, California is putting the finger there. Mm-hmm. So many regulations that restrict the way you provide services, the way you treat the water. I'm gonna give you just two examples. One is, I'm gonna talk about more in depth later, is one of the regulations is called Water Conservation, California Way of Life. In 2014, we used to sell 35 million gallons of water per day. This year, I'm gonna be lucky if we hit 22 million gallons of water per day. Those regulations are gonna be more strict. By 2027, they're gonna be lowered to 18 million gallons per day.
Wow.
Yes. The consequences are, one, institutional organizations, commercial organizations, industrial organizations, they won't be able to have grass starting January 1st, 2027. Of course, you're using less of, the price is gonna go up. Because we have to maintain those generators, we have to maintain the wells, we have to pay for employees, we have to maintain the system. So we sell less, the price is gonna go up. That's one of them. The other one is the legislator created this incredible complicated formula. So complicated that only 3 people in Orange County fully understand this regulation. I'm serious. Water companies and cities are hiring people that they just specialize in this regulation because we can't keep up. It's so complicated. They created this regulation. They flew an airplane photographing the city. Then they did this calculation. Okay, this is the area that you can irrigate. More outside the area you cannot irrigate, and they calculate how many gallons of water you can irrigate. Then they calculate how many gallons you can use indoors. By 2020 was 55 gallons per person per day. This year was 50 gallons per person per day. By 2030, we go to 45 gallons per person per day indoors.
How many showers is that, just if I can interrupt?
Uh,
Not to put you on the spot.
A shower typically is 2 gallons per minute.
Okay.
You calculate, you take a 20 minute shower.
Okay, just so we can put it in perspective for everybody.
The bigger water user is inside is the toilet and the washing machine.
Oh, okay.
But for the last 10 years, every time you go to Home Depot, every time you buy a faucet, the toilet is a low flow. So that's helping for that regulation.
Got it.
it continues. They calculate the winter time and summertime, and it's such a complicated regulation that is amazing how complicated, how somebody had that time to come up with it. So the cost is we're selling less water. The cost is we have to comply with the regulations. We're probably going to have to hire people to comply with the regulation. The reporting is incredible. I spend 1 day a month doing one of the reporting. It's that complicated. Some data that is, I wonder why the state need this type of data. But that's, I expect that in the next 10 years, water going to be the most expensive utility in California.
Now, as far as costs to the cities, you know, we always talk about budget, and anytime we speak with anyone from the city, as far as those rising costs, you did mention perhaps that those would be affecting consumers. But as far as like, how are you all managing that? Like right now, are we seeing that cost go up now, or what does that implementation look like? If you can shed light on that.
It's something called Proposition 218. The California voters approved Proposition 218 years ago. Proposition 218 also, what it says is local government, you can only charge to a parcel what it costs to provide that services. What that means in water is I cannot charge, for example, this hotel more to subsidize somebody that is in fixed income on Social Security. I can only charge this hotel for the cost of providing that services, the water services in this case, to this hotel. It's very regulated. Also, Proposition 218 only allows you to do rate increases for 5 years.
Okay.
5-year block. Before, also 218, you have to justify, you have to doing a study of what the cost of providing those services. That way you can say rates. So that we usually hire an outside company to do an independent study, tell us how much it costs us to provide those services. When that report it came to us, now we know what the rate is going to be. We take it to City Council, and it's up to City Council to approve those rates. Since I got hired by the city, every year we have raised the rates. Not a lot, but a little bit. My theory is, and it works, before my time, we didn't raise rates for 5 years. And then Orange Water was on red. And then everybody panicked and they wanted to raise the rate 20%. And that's when the residents of businesses say, hey, what time out here? This is wrong. I came on board and said, let's do the McDonald's principle. Remember when McDonald's used to be 35 cents, Big Mac? You won't pay that now. But every year, they go as needed, because it's something called inflation. That's what we do now, just as needed. We are not doing this to be rich. We are not making profits. Just do it as needed. And people really understand that. We actually get no complaints when we raise the rate because it's so insignificant, but we keep up with inflation. Otherwise, you will see after 10 years, 25%. Well, in 1 year you would complain, but this is 0.5%. Okay, bring it in. Just like we're still going to McDonald's, but that's how you do it. It's a good way to do business.
Right. Well,
by the way, in water we don't work with taxes. We only use ratepayers. Okay. What you pay for water is how we run the water system, how we pay the employees.
Okay. Well, speaking of the regulations, I know there's quite a few that kind of impact the water. So we have the Assembly Bill 1668, Senate Bill 606, and Assembly Bill 1572. And so those numbers probably mean nothing to anyone. But if you can kind of dive in and tell us what those are and how they affect the residents and the business community and what we can do as far as turf and potable. It's like potable water and not potable water. Turf, no turf.
It's so complicated I have to print.
Very complicated.
I will show you to you. So this is AB 1572 prohibition of irrigation of non-functional turf. I mentioned this early. This is the one that applies to commercial, industrial, institutional, and homeowners association.
Oh.
Starting January 1st, 2027, that grass cannot be there. It could be drought tolerant, it could be cactus, or it could be something else, but no irrigation. Imagine the cost of removing that grass, changing the irrigation from what you have now of irrigating grass to drip irrigation, so those cactus doesn't die or that drought tolerant get water in the summertime. The cost is gonna be tremendous. The cost is gonna be bear by the owners of those properties. However, the state make us the police, the enforcer, which I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy. When I started in this industry, my job was to be sure that the water quality is there, be sure that you have water 24 hours a day, employee relations, and the budget. Now all those four things are secondary. It's regulation what's taking most of my time. The second one, but not the last one, it's one more. Making conservation California wildlife is also so complicated. So complicated, I want to bring you here. I know it's hard for you to see. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a formula that one is about residential indoor, the 55 gallons per day that I was talking about, residential outdoor irrigation, industrial, residential, institutional irrigation, water loss, the one has to calculate if we notice a pipe that it leaks, how many gallons got lost. It's almost impossible to make a real calculation. So it's basically they're asking us to lie about it. We can do an estimate. Finally, you even get variances. You use reclaimed water, or is it summer, is it winter? You are inland water agency like Palm Springs, or you're close to the ocean, because there's different weathers. That's complicated. And this is the one that water agencies have to hire people just to keep up with this particular regulation. And then the reporting is overwhelming. And it's one more. The State Water Resources Control Board just created a new handbook for water backflow prevention devices. Those are usually painted red. You're gonna see it on the front yard, and that prevents water from inside the building to go into the water system. Many are buried on the ground, installed in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. And the new regulation required that by 2030, all those have bring up to standards above ground. Now, if you have a 6 inches or 8 inches pipe going into your business, into your building, that's anywhere from $120,000 to $60,000. And by 2030, the state gonna make everyone do that. And we had about 5,000 of those in the city. Imagine the economic impact that they're gonna create. And then the demand for those devices is gonna be so high that the price of everything gonna increase. So what I'm telling you, 120 to 60,000, double, triple that, because the demand gonna be so high, even the people qualified to do the job, it won't be sufficient for the demand I'm gonna create. And that one worries me tremendously. Those three regulations are really, really impacting the way I do business and the way the population and the business community gonna feel the impact of the economic impact of not just to comply with the regulation, but the cost of water because of those regulations.
Wow. So what we have our business community here that's mostly here for the chamber. What can the business community do to really stay on top of this, help and partner with you guys if you may? Is there anything the business community can do to
Yeah,
kind of be aware?
we are a republic. The people that represent us, we elect the people that represent us. That's what a republic is. This, we vote for them, and they go to Sacramento. Most of these problems are in Sacramento, created by Sacramento. We vote, or many of us choose even not to vote, which is a mistake. And then we don't learn anything what they're doing in Sacramento. Every year, more than 1,000 bills are proposed in Sacramento. About 900 get signed. We might know one or two of them. The rest we don't even are informed. It's a tremendous disconnection there. Vote, know who you're voting for, understand what that person stands for, what their plans are, and follow up what they vote for and what they don't vote for. I'm going to tell you more, right? I was a city council member in Anaheim. I represent District 1, Beach Boulevard, prostitution, drugs, basically abandoned by the city for 30 years. No longer as abandoned by the cities. There's a lot going on there. I used to have the police chief, the red dial, hey, I see a prostitute. 5 minutes later, the police was there. Suddenly, July 1st, 2022, governor signed SB 357. SB 357. Well, it's now legal in the state of California to solicit for prostitution. It's still illegal, prostitution is still illegal, but it's legal to solicit for prostitution. So most people don't care, most people don't know. But I'm close to Beach Boulevard. Now that the red dial, the police officer went there and arrested that prostitute, 99% of the time was to protect that lady that was abused by a pin or in drugs. Now that cannot happen because they have the right to be half naked, asking for people to stop, and it's always a dark side in there. Prostitution, drug abuse, parent abuse. That's just an example of why we need to be engaged. Be engaged with your local representative, which are not the problem, but especially be engaged and know who you vote for at the state level. That's my recommendation. Stay engaged. A democracy works if we are engaged. If we are not engaged, we have no idea what's going on, and they're gonna vote the way they want it because they know we are not engaged. That's my advice.
Does anyone have any questions for Jose?
I love questions. Yes.
Question.
As you look forward to the next 20, 30 years, what are the big jobs in the water industry that we should be preparing our students for?
That's a great question.
The California voters approved a big multi-billion dollar bond in the mid-2000s to build 3 new reservoirs. California, we're kind of dry in the south. We're very wet in the north. 50% of the water in California, when it rains, ended up in the ocean. 50%. And now, California has 3 good years of rain. You can go to statistics. 3 above average years of rain, and then followed by 2 to 3 to 4 years of below average rain. If 50% of the water goes to the ocean, those good years, logic tells you need reservoirs. Those 2 to 3 to 4 years of above average rain, the last 2 3 years have been like that. You capture that water. Not everything, because nature also needs some water. You capture that water. When the bad years came, the dry years, you had tons of water there, tons of water. The money's there. The area has been studied. The CEQA, the California environmental laws, are already approved. The state doesn't want to pull the trigger. That's the big issue, and that's what concerns me. Think about this. Saudi Arabia, Israel, Kuwait, completely dry. They have no problem with water. And then you have places like Cuba, Haiti, that have no water. Water is all about infrastructure investment. You invest in infrastructure, you're gonna have water, because there's many ways to have water. Desalination, a little bit of water conservation, storage. If we don't invest in the water, eventually we're gonna run dry. And that's something that is not being told enough in California. California is concentrating in conservation, which is good, but it's not concentrating in storage, in long-term investment. Completely different than what we're doing in Orange. Orange, we're looking forward for how we get more water, how we drill a new well, how we provide that continuity for the next 100 years. Orange have been here for 125 years. Orange is gonna be here for the next 125 years, even if it's taken over by China. So we need to think about how we're gonna provide water for our kids, our grandkids. California is not thinking like that. So that's one of the big challenges.
Anyone else? I know we had some questions about.
I'm not gonna leave until I get at least 10 questions. I'm gonna stay here.
Well, that's not going to happen. You can't do that.
How do we do in terms of recycling water?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, in Orange we don't directly do recycling. Before I tell you what I want to tell you, I'm gonna tell you something. We don't have new water. The same water that we have today is the water that we have 1 million years ago. The same water that the dinosaurs drink is the water that we're drinking today. Where I'm going with this is nature recycles that water. It's contaminated on the ground, but evaporation only takes the pure water. When it rains, that water is pure. So that's a nature way to recycle. This is my preview for what I'm gonna tell you. Every time you flush the toilet, every time you wash your clothing, every time you take a shower, that water goes to Fountain Valley, to the Orange County Sanitation District, where it gets treated so well that it could be released to the ocean and not create any environmental damage. But we don't release that water to the ocean anymore. We send it next door to the Orange County Water District. We get even more treated. So clean that if you drink that water directly from the plant, it's gonna give you the runs because it doesn't have any minerals. It's so clean that would take the minerals out of you and would give you the runs. We do two things with that water.
Yeah.
We inject it along the coast to prevent salt water, the ocean, to penetrating the groundwater. That way we can pump below the sea level because it's a barrier there. And the other part, we send it to along the 91 freeway. You see those lakes, a bunch of lakes there? Those are not lakes. Those are percolation pumps. We send water there, one from the Orange County Water District, and the other one, when it rains, we hold the water behind the dam that is on the 91 freeway, and then we release the water slowly to fill those percolation pumps. That water filtrates, and that's what keeps the groundwater filled. In 1932, Orange County Water District was created just to keep that groundwater recharged. San Diego used to have groundwater too, and they ignored that. They keep pumping water, and eventually the ocean penetrated the groundwater in San Diego. They lost the biggest natural resource forever. Orange County had that vision, and we still had the biggest natural resource that we can have. And because that, we pay half the price for water that was San Diego did. So don't be grossed by that. We are doing what nature have been doing for millions of years. That's what I said. The same water that the dinosaurs used to drink is to drink the water that we drink today. So basically, we recycle 100% of the water we use today. And we pay a fee to Orange County Water District, and we pay a fee to Orange County Sanitation District, but they're good. They do an excellent job.
We have time for one lightning round question. Who has one last question they'd like to ask? Anyone?
Two more. Yes.
What's the status of the new well of Leonard that with the pocket pipe?
It's drilled. The construction is almost finished. We are waiting for Southern California Edison to do the connection. Edison they have been through a lot of lawsuits. They have spending a lot of money in replacing infrastructure. So this small connection have become secondary to them. It takes months and months before they give you the connection. That's what we're waiting for. That's the critical path. Yes.
Jose said he had time for 2 questions. He's not busy at all. He's got a free week, nothing in water going on. Right here.
I just drove over the weekend through Malibu and through the Pacific Palisades region and was devastated by unfathomable loss there. I've never seen anything in my life here in Southern California. So obviously there was some connection to, or at least a narrative that took root, that the water infrastructure, I don't know how it could have, even if it didn't have some challenges eradicated by fire at that level. But I'm assuming that you coordinate a lot with Orange County Fire Authority. So obviously much of Orange does have a perimeter line with the canyons, and there's threat of fire to the city. It's not all just the urbanization of it. Do you have any comments about that and the preparatory nature of Orange County and being able to handle a fire of that magnitude?
Yeah, it's different situation in Orange County. City of Anaheim, City of Orange, Orange County Fire Authority, they very coordinate that area tremendously. It's a lot of monitoring, it's a lot of weed. They control the weed, the growth. Actually, right now we are coordinating with the University of San Diego, and we're gonna put cameras in top of the reservoir looking at that area. And those cameras are gonna be linked to the Orange County Fire Authority, City of Anaheim, City of Orange, fire. And the first sign of smoke, they already know. And historically, they already had the maps. They know how the fires came. It's always when the Santa Ana winds, when it's hot. So when those situations are here, they mobilize the troops there. Also, we have the infrastructure. We have the generators just in case that we lose power. We have the reservoirs. I mentioned we use about 22 million gallons per day. Well, we have reservoir capacity of 45 million gallons. Also, when we know it's Santa Ana winds, we operate efficiently, so we don't fill the reservoirs all the way. We want to save energy. Those times, we fill the reservoir to the top, and we increase our import. So water won't be an issue in Orange County. It won't. I'm very proud also of the fire department. Those 3 fire departments, they really know. They know what they're doing. But I have to tell you, when it's a wildfires like that combined with 80-mile winds, it's almost impossible to stop that fire. No firefighter gonna go in front of 80 miles per hour fire ball going to you. You have to retreat. And it doesn't matter how much water you have, nature is nature. But the best we can be, we are now. Yes, one more.
One more. It has to be a short answer because we are at time.
First and foremost, you've been very helpful during our Leadership Orange program. We take the students out there, participants, to the water department, and it's been one of the most fascinating tours. And I think what everybody's impressed with is your knowledge and your passion. We thank you. The chamber thanks you for your assistance.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, you're retiring this week. I was going to ask because you're replacing me, but you cannot be replaced. So who's going to be the man or the person that's going to be in that position?
I can be replaced. Yeah. Orange was here before I was born. Orange gonna be here after I'm dead. Yeah, I can be replaceable for sure. I created a system where I hire the best, and then I decentralize the decision making. Meaning, you're a supervisor and you make your decisions. Because as a supervisor, you know that job better than I do. That's a principle that most CEOs that are successful use, because you cannot take care of every single aspect.
Right.
The position is open. We don't pay the best in the city. It's gonna be a challenge to hire somebody to replace me, but eventually somebody gonna step into the system. But we have a system that is working and gonna continue working. I'm not worried about that. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So before we let you go, first of all, thank you so much for sharing something so valuable to everybody here, and your passion and commitment to the city has been amazing. Before you go, though, I do have some quick announcements for everybody. So we have our board installation and the Best of Orange Awards coming up on July 17th. Who here has a business that is involved in the Best of Orange nominations? All right. Okay, just really quickly, raise your hands one more time. One more time. What's the name of your business?
Jug Luggers in Orange County.
Okay.
Our Briscoe Remix Market is also up.
Okay.
Goodwill Orange.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Find them afterwards and make sure get their information. Vote for them at least for today, because they get voting once a day until July 3rd. Also, buy our tickets to come to the event. It's going to be here at Hotel Fera. We're going to have so much fun. Other than that, we have our business networking group first Wednesdays here at the Peel. The next one's on July 2nd. Ribbon cuttings, we have one, is that tomorrow? Loving Life ribbon cutting on the 18th. We have a mixer at the Orange Grove Lodge number 293 on the 25th. We have a couple of workshops. We have Innovate and Elevate, and that's an AI workshop on the 26th. We have a Business 101 Pathway to Success on July 3rd. Downtown Merchants Association meeting on July 10th. Ambassador meeting on July 15th. A Happy Mob at Danny K's on July 16th. We have a foundation event that is bingo. Who here has been to bingo? Bingo is like really fun. That's going to be at Green Cheek. That's by our foundation. That's going to be on the 9th. We'll have our next Eggs and Issues meeting here. I'm not sure which room because we've changed rooms, but they're all beautiful. We'll have Clarissa Serpas from the Southern California Gas Company. So that'll be nice and tidy. We'll have water, then we'll have gas. So that'll be coming up at the end of July on the 4th Tuesday, back on our regular cadence. Paola, I don't see her, but thank you so much to Hotel Fera for having us today. A great breakfast. There's still some to go snack on if you'd like. Paola was our server, so make sure you thank her on the way out today. Special thanks this morning to all of our Orange Chairman Circle sponsors, our board of directors, our members, our staff, all of you who are here. We will see you in a few weeks, about 5 weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.